Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. We're in the process of going through the Old Testament books of the Bible, and we're seeing how in each one of them Jesus Christ is revealed. And just like the build up to Christmas, as people get more excited as it gets closer, you might think Christmas build up starts too early, but God started the build up to the first Christmas right back in the Garden of Eden. And we're looking at each of these books, and today we're at Deuteronomy. And the name Deuteronomy literally means the second law, because not that God had two laws for the Israelites, but he gave it twice, because he gave the law through Moses, but then after they'd wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, God again delivered the law unto the people a second time when they were on the verge of passing over into the promised land. And, because we talk about this second law, it reminds me of the fact that the first law was not perfect, that there was a greater law coming, and that law, greater than the law of Moses, is the perfect law of Jesus Christ. James chapter 1 verse 25 describes it as the perfect law that gives freedom. It's the royal law of love that we walk in as Christians because of the coming of Jesus. Now in Deuteronomy we see a number of passages that look forward prophetically to Jesus. One of them is whenever they were told that there was going to be another prophet would come, a prophet like unto Moses. And actually, people identified that with Jesus in John chapter 6, whenever Jesus fed the 5,000. It says, they began to say, surely this is the prophet who is to come into the world. Now, Jesus had to leave that place because they wanted to take him by force to try and make him their king, because they didn't understand that he was greater than Moses, not because he was leading the people out of Egypt or anything like that, but because he was laying down his life for the people. Also, of course, in the book of Deuteronomy, we read about the cities of refuge, where if somebody accidentally killed somebody else, what today we would describe as manslaughter rather than murder, and the family of the person being killed was after them and wanted to take their life, remember, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. There were cities of refuge, and they could run to that city of refuge, and they would be protected from the vengeance that they actually deserved according to the law. And Jesus is our city of refuge, because we have sinned. We deserve to be punished, and yet we run to him for grace and mercy and forgiveness. And Jesus is our city of refuge. But there is another passage in Deuteronomy which really points us to Jesus. And it's in Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 23, where it says, cursed is anyone who hangs on a tree. When I first became a Christian, I used to wonder why some of the old hymns that we used to sing, I was saved in a Salvation Army church, and I used to wonder why some of the hymns that we used to sing spoke about Jesus dying on a tree rather than a cross. The New Testament in the book of Acts even uses that same language. And the reason is that Jesus didn't die on an actual tree. It was a cross made, of course, from wood from a tree. But the reason why we describe it as a tree is because it was a fulfillment of this verse in Deuteronomy, that Jesus took our curse upon his shoulders. The book of Galatians puts it this way in chapter 3 in verses 13 and 14. Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone who is hung on a tree. That's the Deuteronomy verse. He redeemed us in order that the blessing given to Abraham might come to the Gentiles through Christ Jesus, so that by faith we might receive the promise of the Spirit. Because Jesus took our curse upon himself by being nailed to the cross, we take his life and his blessings and his salvation unto ourselves whenever we trust in him. Thank God that we serve the wonderful Jesus that was revealed to us in the book of Deuteronomy. May God bless you today, and may you worship this Jesus with all of your heart, and join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.